So why would you go into debt review? Well, let me start with when is the right time to go into debt review. The moment you realize that you can't pay your debt, you have two choices. You see, with everything in life, you have choices. You can either pick up the phone and call each creditor individually. And listen, this is not an easy thing to do. It will take so much out of you. You need balls to do this. And you must be resolute and you must be very clear. So the first choice is to pick up the phone and call your creditors and say, this is my name and surname. With your ID number or your account number, be prepared and have a notebook and write in that book, a diary or any notebook or on your phone, on this day, at this time, because this requires work. On this day, at this time, I made a call. This was the agent's name. And then you say to them, I cannot pay you. I don't know when I will have the money to pay you. I cannot commit to a payment date. I cannot commit to an amount because this is my situation. That's your one option. And that you have to do every month. The calls won't stop coming. You will still get the calls. Even if you have made an arrangement or said, I cannot pay you right now, the calls will still come. But what you have to keep in mind, do not, under any circumstances, agree to something that you cannot honor. Because if you say, I will pay 100 Rand every month, and you know, even finding 100 Rand is going to be almost impossible for you, then don't agree to it. That's why I say you need balls. You need to stand your ground. Because remember, the call center agent doesn't know you. It's not personal. They need to reach a target. They need to call a certain amount of people every day, and they need to reach their target to say, I've called so many people, I have entered so many agreements with people. So it's not about you. It's about them having to answer to their bosses and reaching their target. Bear that in mind. That's your one option. The other option, if you now feel like really, you know what? I can't do this. This is too much. I'm feeling that I'm losing my mind. I'm in such a deep hole. I don't have the energy to even answer the phone. And then you decide to go into debt review or into debt counseling. The first thing you need to remember that it must be an accredited debt counselor, a registered debt counselor. How do you know when someone is registered? You go to the website at www.ncr.org.za. That is the website of the National Credit Regulator. And on their website, you will find all the registered debt counselors. That is very important because in most cases, not all, because people can still be registered and be crooks, right? So what that means, when someone is registered, at least they will follow the processes of the law. So now you have found your registered debt counselor. When you enter there, trust your gut. Why is that so important? You need to feel that you can trust this person you are dealing with. You need to feel comfortable and confident with their ability to deal with your debt issues. You need someone with integrity, with honesty, transparency, and who understands what it means to you to be under debt review. It's not an easy process. It's not pleasant at first, right? So now you walk into the counselor's office. Trust your gut. The process works as follows. Before you can even consider debt counseling, you must have a regular income. If you do not have a regular income, you cannot go for debt counseling. The reason for that, and that is why so many people are practically screwed when you lose your job, because you don't know when you are going to find another job. You don't know when you're getting your next income. You don't know when you will have money again. So automatically that disqualifies you from going for debt counseling. So if you do have a regular income, in the case where maybe you had two incomes and maybe both husband and wife were working, and then one of them lost your jobs, then you qualify for debt counseling. Or maybe you had to take a reduction in your income, but at least you have a regular income every month. And this is why only when you have a regular income can you go for debt counseling. What happens when you go and see the debt counselor? They will look at what are your essentials first, right? Because you still need to eat, you still need petrol to go to work, you still need that car to go to work, you still need to pay the bond or the rent or whatever it is, your essentials. For some people, if you work from home, the internet is an essential. It's not a luxury. So then they determine, what do you need to make an income or to get to your place of work? That's an essential. Food, water, electricity, your municipal rates, all of those things, they are essentials. They must be paid every month. So now, they've calculated your essentials for your must-have, that I need this to survive. Not the nice to have, because for some people, Netflix, it's I need Netflix to survive. If I don't have Netflix, I think I'm going to die. It's not an essential. It's not, right? So now, they have calculated X amount you need for your essentials. Then what is left of your regular monthly income? Then the amount that is left then gets divided up to be paid so that each of your creditors gets an amount every single month. That's why it's important. They do not consider you, and it's a huge loophole in the Credit Act. They do not consider you if you don't have a regular income. So if you are a freelancer, a contract worker, and you can't service your debt, then you cannot go for debt counseling. It's a harsh reality, and it's an unpleasant reality. It basically means when you lose your job, you can't go into debt counseling until you get another job. And it's unfair and it's unjust that you have to suffer on your own. But unfortunately, that is what is in the law. And a lot of lawyers who specialize in debt counseling are working on the loopholes so that every South African must have an opportunity to go for debt counseling. So now, the amount that is left, so it's your monthly income minus your essentials. And then what is left, it gets divided up onto so that there's an amount that each of your creditors gets paid every single month. But here's the thing, the creditor can decide to reject it. They can say, No, it's not enough. That's where lawyers come in, because debt counselors don't work on their own. They work with lawyers as well to see the legal loopholes in order to represent you better. A debt counselor cannot work on her own or his own. You need to work together with lawyers so they can see the missing links. And sometimes even the debt counselor can say, listen, I've been having clients who are complaining about the same thing. Can you maybe look at this? So that's why the lawyers and the debt counselors, they work hand in hand. Another thing, if you are married within community of property, right? What is mine is yours, and what is yours is mine. A community of property, which means you got married without a prenuptial contract. So now, when you go into debt counseling and the husband says no, or the wife says no, they cannot continue with the process. Both of you needs to agree on the process. And these are the little things that you need to be aware of when you go for debt counseling.